We're going to jump into the next guy. This fella is a little bit more interesting to me. I know you guys are going to have some thoughts on it. He's got some metrics, and I am not a metrics guy. Okay, let's be completely outspoken about this. I don't like metrics. I don't like velos. You either hit the ball or you don't. But Luke Adams has high metrics, and this is what his 2023 season looked like. He had 339 at bats. His average was at 233. On base percentage was 400. Slugged 401. On base plus slugging 801. He had 11 home runs and 30 stolen bases, which I think that's a mirage, but we'll get into it. 18 doubles on top of that. He is 6'4", 210 pounds. He did come out of high school, drafted in 2022, round 12, pick 372. I'm a little bit interested about that as well. He's only 19 years old, guys. Ross, I know in our league, I traded you Luke Adams for a reliever. And that is because I don't see what everybody else is so excited about here. But Ross, go ahead, jump into this one. Kind of convince me of what's going on here.
The Hinsdale Hurricane. That's what we're calling him.
Nice. That's a good name.
So, Luke Adams is you were very much in a vacuum, I think, with your perspective on Luke Adams, because Scout the Stat Line was pretty excited about him early on, especially because he gets on base. He's got a really good eye, and he hits with decent power, and he's fast. He's a hard worker on the field overall. But now the flip side of it, scouts do not like this guy. They do not like this guy much at all because he's got a funky swing. And if you've ever watched him play, you pick up on it right away because it's just odd. It's an odd swing. It feels like it's got a hitch in it. So in many ways, I think you could think of Luke Adams as sort of a project a little bit, but because most people are saying that the swing is not going to pan out as he moves up. It's not going to pan out as he gets to the major league level. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. I think we've seen some major leaguers with some pretty funky swings that have been successful enough. So we'll see if that works out for Luke Adams. If he's got to change his swing, then it's about adaptation, And if he's somebody that adapts, let me just say this. I think in the numbers, I can see a guy that has the eye, that has the power, that has the speed. And those are the characteristics that you want in your baseball players. Fantasy or not, you want those characteristics in your baseball player. If he can iron that thing out, there's serious potential here. And Scout the Stat Line sees it in the numbers, putting him as the number 5 guy. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Before you get into it, and I want to kind of piggyback off what Ross was saying, when you see his YouTube swing, imagine if anybody's ever seen Charles Barkley swing a golf club. And apparently Charles Barkley used to be really good at golf, but something is in his head, and he starts up here, and then he starts shaking. It's just this weird shake, and then he strokes through, and it's very quick with Luke Adams. It's like he just stutters for a second. It's very odd, and I don't know how to even quantify it, because his stats do look decent other than his average, and his average isn't awful, but Ross said, the eye's there, the power's there, the speed's there. It's interesting. There was just something that I didn't like. Luke Adams, I'm sure you're an amazing human being, and I want you to crush everything. He's never going to listen to this anyway, so
never saying that.
Well, you already know based on my buying him in our league that how I think about it. If you're not giving up something, not much anyway, I gave up a reliever for him, then there you go. That's about the right price.
I just took a look at his swing. on the YouTubes. If we had, when we evolve this to the next level, and I'm in a proper, studio, and we have a Jamie, like Joe Rogan, he can say, "Hey, pull that swing up."
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
I would describe it as a pump fake almost. Like it's like slow. It's from what I saw, it's kind of like he kind of goes like, and then he goes through with it. It's like a pump fake almost, which I would think if it's a real issue. The rest of it looked fine. It was fluid. I mean, my thing was looking at his profile, not knowing too much about Luke Adams coming into this. Well, first of all, I see that he's 6'4", 210 already at 19. Okay, like that. Stealing bases, red flag that he stole. So green light, green flag that he stole 30 bases. A little bit, he got caught caught stealing 10 times. They're not going to tolerate that at the bigs, but who knows? Maybe at the very least, it indicates to me he's got speed at that size. Exciting.
Yeah.
And it's one of those interesting profiles. He actually, if I'm reading this correctly, I think he has 233 batting average and a 400 OBP.
Yeah.
And,
wow.
And I'm starting to, I'm still learning as I'm going. It's always a learning process, but I'm starting to think about that kind of stuff at the low levels and compare it a little bit to what Roman Anthony did. And from what I understand, the lower levels, they're not getting all the best pitches. They're getting a lot of junk.
Yep.
And so, the guys, that'll show you a good eye. Check out the OBP. The batting average we saw with Roman Anthony, it actually got better as he leveled up. And maybe that happens here. Maybe that happens. Because I would imagine, especially if you're seeing junk pitches, then, maybe you get a little, man, I would love to smack one out right now. Maybe once in a while you swing at something you shouldn't, right? It's it's an interesting quandary, but it's funny that the scouts get worried about that. If he keeps on this trajectory, though, same with Tyler Black. The nice thing about being with the Milwaukee Brewers is you ain't gonna have the same problem as you will with San Diego, New York, LA, somewhere like that. There's room for you. They'll make room.
Yeah.
So
those are great takes.
Oh,
I love that breakdown.
One other comment, Brian. I heard from someone recently that Charles Barkley actually ironed out his swing.
There's no way.
That's what I heard.
You gotta
check it out. I mean, don't take my word for it, but that's what somebody told me. Somebody that was trustworthy enough.
Those videos are amazing. It's just gold. It's just comedic gold watching that, and I feel so bad.
Barkley can do it. So can Luke Adams.
He doesn't even understand that he's doing it either. Everybody's yelling at him like, "Quit stalling!" And he's like, It's a fluid swing. I don't know what's going on." It's great. Just comedic gold. All right. Luke Adams. What do you guys think? Is he go get him? It's not going to cost too much.
Yeah, I think all these guys are buy at the right price. I like the guy that's above him a little bit more, but I do think he's worth taking a chance on anyway, for sure. Right now, he's going to be hot and cold. He's going to have some really hot periods. He's going to have some cold periods, and if it's a swing issue, I hope he can get that worked out because I think there's a lot of potential there.